Namaste, hello, vanakkam, sat sri akal. This is Shrikant Shastri. Today I'd like to talk about how to face big challenges without feeling scared. Let me start with a story that happened 9 years ago in September 2013. A very close friend of mine, Suresh Shankar, he was turning 50 that year. Now, normally when people turn 50, they celebrate by throwing a party or making a trip to Goa. But now I call Suresh a crazy genius. He's a genius, but he comes up with crazy ideas. So his idea was, I'd like to go with my close friends to climb Mt Kilimanjaro, which is Africa's highest peak, 19,340 feet. So I joined a group of 7 who went along with him. Now, it's not an easy climb. 5.5 days going up, 1.5 days coming down. You're living in tents throughout, and it's very cold and fairly uncomfortable. Now, I wonder how I did it. I made it to the peak, but how did I do it? After all, I'm not into heavy physical activity like marathon running, mountain climbing, trekking, or scuba diving, but I still made it. And when I look back, I think there are 3 lessons I learned about what it takes to meet such challenges without feeling scared. So what's lesson number 1? Lesson number 1 is Polay-Polay. Now, Polay-Polay in Swahili language that's spoken in East Africa means slowly, slowly. Now, this was the expert advice we got from the guides who are accompanying us. They told us that the mistake that a lot of climbers make is that they try and walk very fast and then they get tired and are not able to climb the peak. So they told us, walk slowly, Polay-Polay, and steadily and slowly you will reach the peak. And that's what happened because we followed their guidelines. The same thing happened in that famous 2001 test match at Eden Gardens, Calcutta, where India was playing Australia. Remember, Australia under Steve Waugh was a champion team. They had beaten every country and they called India the last frontier. They had won 16 matches in a row. In India, they already won the first test match. And in the second test match, India was following on with a 274-run deficit. Everything seemed hopeless until VVS Lakshman and Rahul Dravid created a massive 4th wicket partnership. Lakshman made 281, Dravid made 180. It was a 376-run partnership and India made a massive 600 plus run total and won that match. How did that happen? It was a massive uphill task that the 2 batsmen were faced with, but they did not let that big task intimidate them. At the end of each over, Dravid and Lakshman would do a fist bump and tell each other, come on buddy, one more over. So they took 1 over at a time, and that was the small step, Polay-Polay, that Rahul Dravid and VVS Lakshman, they were adopting the same approach. And finally, we won the match. So whether in mountain climbing or in cricket, when you're faced with a big challenge, the answer or the first lesson is Polay-Polay, slowly, 1 step at a time. Lesson number 2 is focus and preparation, no shortcuts. Now, for preparing for this Mount Kilimanjaro climb, I had to do both physical and mental preparation. So for physical strength, I practiced 2 months prior to September by walking, long walks, treadmill running with a load on the back because I knew that we had to climb Mount Kilimanjaro with our own backpacks. Besides that, there was yoga and pranayam to build respiratory strength. Now for mental strength, I have to thank my parents because they inculcated focus and mental strength when I was young at school and at home. And coincidentally, we reached the peak on September 19th, which happens to be my late father's birthday. He was obviously no longer around, but his blessings, I'm sure, ensured that I could climb the peak successfully. Now, besides physical and mental strength, you have to have determination, and that also happened. The same focus and preparation was required 2 years ago when I decided to write a book called The Ventilator Project. It turned out to be a 236-page book, but it got done in 90 days, purely because there was enough preparation done and I did it with focus and energy. It certainly helped that I sat down and wrote it in the mountains of Uttarakhand, looking at the Himalayas, and that beautiful climate and beautiful scenery certainly helped. But what mattered the most was focus and preparation, no shortcuts. Lesson number number 3 is get out of your comfort zone. I certainly had to get out of my comfort zone and indulge in the strenuous adventure of 7 days. But I really want to talk about another story of a very famous star, PV Sindhu. We all know that PV Sindhu came to fame when she won the silver medal at the 2016 Rio Olympics. We all today recognize and identify Sindhu with her aggression and the screaming on the court, but it was not always that way. Her aggression had to be inculcated with her coach Polay-Polay pushing her out of her comfort zone. So there's a story that goes something like this. Sindhu was not aggressive once, and Gopi was trying to get her to be aggressive by saying, Sindhu, scream on the court. Now she was not able to do it. So Gopi finally said, till you scream, no one will practice in the academy. And so coaching for that day ended. Sindhu went back home very upset. But when she came back to the academy the next day, she was a changed person. She had decided she would get out of her comfort zone. On the court, she let out a big scream and her play became aggressive, and that has become her trademark over a period of time. And today we all recognize Sindhu for that, and that certainly allowed her to win bigger and bigger achievements on the global stage. So getting out of comfort zone, that's when magic happens. That is lesson number 3. So let me summarize the 3 lessons I learned after climbing Mount Kilimanjaro about how to face big challenges and not getting scared. Lesson number 1, Polay-Polay. Do it slowly, one step at a time. Lesson number 2, focus and preparation, no shortcut. And lesson number 3, get out of your comfort zone. That's when magic happens. Wish you the very best as you go out and face big challenges at work and in life and go out and achieve success without feeling scared. All the best.